Empecé con eso, ¿se oía? ¿Se alcanzaba a oír?
Hello. Today I'm going to be analysing my new short Displaced that I recently made with a group as part of the Intro to Sound and Camera unit for my university course. I'll be looking at the narrative across both versions, specifically in relation to genre and audience expectation, then I'll compare it to other films. And for those who have been annoyed about it, no, I will not be deleting this video like I did my Bioshock, Blade Runner 2049 and Gaiken videos. And yes, I'm going to be leaving up my Evil Within 2 video after this one goes up. So let's jump right in. And warning, there will be spoilers. In terms of genre, this video falls solidly into the genre of drama. As described by the Script Lab, drama relies on emotional and relational development of realistic characters. It doesn't quite follow the relational part, as there is only one proper character, but it certainly is a film about emotional development. The film also carries heavy elements of surrealism, blurring the lines between dreams and reality and distorting, at least in the original cut, the very medium of film itself. The film centers around a young girl who, through the course of the day, gets taken away to a field in which she is loomed over by a mysterious figure which progressively gets closer and closer to her until she confronts it and things become normal. Or have they? This is a basic rundown of the plot, but there's a lot to dig into here. There are certain things that should be relatively obvious. For instance, that the field, which was originally the title of the film, as a location, only exists inside the protagonist's head. Another thing that may seem obvious is that the mysterious figure is a personification of depression or some other mental illness that she may be struggling with. In order to make this more clear, in the original script I fought tooth and nail for the mysterious figure to never have his face shown throughout the film, even during the twist at the end. The thinking behind this was that giving him a face humanizes him and makes it more difficult to see him as an extension of her issues instead of a character in his own right. This plan ended up failing though during filming and was eventually canned. Some themes are more difficult to unearth though. A theme of isolation was intended and attemptedly portrayed by us sitting adjacent from our friends who were facing each other, and her distance from other people whilst walking through the tunnel. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to talk about both versions of this film, the original cut and the final cut. The reason for these two different versions is because of the audience backlash and backlash from the production team after I presented the original cut to them. The original cut came about from me editing alone and going wild with the possibilities that the medium of short film can allow. The most obvious feature of this cut is its dual credits and intro sequences, one at the beginning and one after the third act. This cut was edited this way to add extra weight to the twist ending. The credit sequence at the beginning should signal to the audience that there's going to be something after an identical credits roll after the third act. These dual credits imply a cycle, and her problems may never go away, a much bleaker outcome than the final cut. The final cut follows a more traditional structure where compared to the original cut, with everything in the correct order. The explanation for the original cut is likely that the work I've done in the past is tailored to a vastly different audience than traditional short films. My work on Gaiken required always thinking outside the box in terms of filmmaking, while still leaving parts of the story to be told through the non-visual mediums of the series, and even more to the imagination of the viewers. This extreme way of thinking led to me creating a cut that ended up being confusing to some and tedious to others, but that still holds a dear place in my heart. In my lost Blade Runner 2049 essay, I talk about how there is a huge difference between acting for the stage and acting for screen. And that difference is the amount of acting. I saw a stage play of Oliver Twist a couple of years ago at around the same time that one of the most recent film adaptations was released, and I remember thinking how different the character of Fagin is portrayed. On the stage, all his movements are over the top, emphasizing everything so that people at the back can see it very clearly. But in a film, where the viewer is always in the front row, the acting is more realistic, more subtle. Fagin's face barely moves as he talks to the boys, but you can tell how much he cares about them, as hard as he is on them, from just a small smile. This relates hugely to our film. There's no excessive, almost choreographic movements to the body to show the emotions of the character. Even in the climax, the most she does is push the figure, and then we don't even see her face. We don't need to. She's looking away now, looking ahead to something better. The final cut is the most pure representation of the intentions of every member of our group, and our influences were taken from films like A Beautiful Mind and Inception, which both blurred the lines between dreams and reality. And during the scriptwriting process, we cited Birdman as an inspiration for the transitions to the field and the positioning of the mysterious figure character. In the original cut, the act cards were largely based on the style of the Marble Hornets web series, which is a huge inspiration on me. The editing in the lost cut, which was lost due to technical issues, was largely based on my favourite short film of all time, unedited footage of a bear. The dual credits sequences are actually more taken from video games than from film. Games like Metal Gear Solid, Undertale, and more recently, Nier Automata and Doki Doki Literature Club.
Oh my god!
These games not only have multiple endings like many games, but almost all of them use fake-out endings in order to advance the story, using the medium itself as part of the story, manipulating the fourth walls, as in ways not seen in storytelling before. This film doesn't break any new ground. Even in the controversial original cut, it does nothing new, but it was something that four seemingly very different people cared about and came together to create, and the production was a very smooth process. Sadly, the initial cut was lost due to technical error, but even so, the film was released on time, and I, for one, am very proud to add it to my portfolio of work. See you in the next video.
Some people call me the space cowboy. Wild West, desperado, rough rider. No, you don't want nada. There's six gunning this, brother running this. Buffalo, no.